John from Sheffield.
Hello.
Good evening. What's your question?
Hi, good evening. It's a bit of a complicated one. I'll try and keep it simple. So I've had a number of issues with a particular police service over a number of years, which resulted in a judicial review hearing at the High Court this year for a particular part of that sort of victimisation. I won that case and won compensation. It's now with the Independent Office for Police Conduct. My question is if they uphold the historical issues of victimisation, is there a sort of a route for recourse for compensation in the court process? Could I go back to the High Court, for example?
Well, now you've had your judicial review case, you can't go back for more money. And judicial review cases have to be brought as soon as whatever they've done wrong happens, and at latest within 3 months of whatever they've done wrong happening. So you won't be able to go back and bring historic claims by way of judicial review. But what you might be able to do is bring claims for negligence or for something called malfeasance in public office, which is where a police officer or the police force deliberately does something in breach of their duty with the intention of hurting someone or damaging someone or making an unlawful profit for themselves. John, without naming the police force, do you want to give a little more detail about what happened?
Yeah, sure. So I actually was in the police many years, 15 years ago, and it was sort of bullying that then manifested into sort of when I left, when I dealt with them, I was basically victimised, sort of police on civilian. This year, they sought a search warrant for my home address, which turned out to be based on false ground. So hence the judicial review.
Sorry, John, what did you do? Did you get the search warrant quashed?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So before they entered your house, before they searched?
No, after.
Okay.
But it's so the reason it's now with the IOPC is there's quite a lot of evidence about this sort of victimisation, if you like.
And you think because you complained of bullying when you were in the force, they're now targeting you? Yeah,
because it's the same group of officers, you see.
Right.
So, and the IOPC have been great, I have to say. But if it's upheld, it's really because the compensation related to that specific incident is whether I can then sort of pursue an action for the historical events. 15
years ago?
Well, no, I mean, there was a series of them. So the latest would have been sort of 5 years ago. There was there's two or three different incidents.
Well, generally for this sort of thing, you've got to bring a claim within 6 years of it happening. Now, I'm sure you know, I'm not going to name them on air, but there are a couple of firms of solicitors who specialise in suing the police force. And I'm sure if you were a copper, you know the names of those firms. Given that most claims have to be brought within 6 years, and if the most recent one for you was 5 years ago, I'd contact one of those firms sooner rather than later, before the limitation period runs out, John. But certainly, from what you're telling me, if they are targeting you because you complained about bullying in the more distant past, and they're victimising you because of it, that is a credible case of malfeasance in public office, which could get you compensation.
Great, that's brilliant. Thank you very much.
Great. John, thank you so much for your call.